Hello computer gamers, this is Insomniac Andrew, or I Andrew. This is perspective from me, from Dota to League. So this is episode 8. Yesterday's episode I uploaded today because I forgot to upload it. So you get 2 episodes today. Yay for you. So episode 7 should be in the process of uploading as I speak. Episode 8. We're going over Swain, Soraka, and Sejuani. So let's get started, eh? So Swain is a really interesting champion. He's got like a bird companion, and then he I don't know if he switched places with like a bird for his ultimate, or the bird possesses him, or he transforms into a bird, or whatever. It's pretty cool, strange stuff. Like, I guess each of the birds have 6 eyes. That's interesting. So, moving on. So there was actually a Warcraft 3 mod, somewhat similar to Dota. It was called The Great Strategy. There was one hero that had a basic ability where he regenerated mana each time he killed a unit. Well, Swain gets that too. There's actually a hero in Dota 2 that's kind of like that, Necrophos. He's got that, but that's an actual ability that he has to learn. So it's a little bit different. So, believe it or not, this ability has its roots pretty long ways back. Now, I can't really say for sure who had that particular ability first, the Necrolite at the time, or the man, what was it? Was it the Lich in Warcraft 3? Kel'Thuzad maybe had that ability. I want to say it was Kel'Thuzad, but I'm not entirely sure. Anyway, it does scale as he levels up. So I don't really know how this works specifically, whether it's just a flat amount like it was in the Great Strategy, or if it's more like the Dota variant, where it's a certain amount over a certain number of seconds. But either way, it makes it hard for you to lane against him, especially if he gets what's it called, that item that gives you mana for every kill you get. Now that's a flat bonus, or restoration, I guess, rather than regeneration. So I would assume he gets both if he gets that item, so that's kind of cool for him. Now, the reason why him having mana is so problematic for you if you're his lane opponent is his other abilities. So let's take a look at him. But let's go through it one at a time, I guess, and then we'll soak it all in if possible. So he's got an ability that simply damages and slows, but it's actually like, I want to say, you can get out of range of it within a certain amount of time.
The Noxian is not dogma.
So I don't think the damage actually increases over time or anything, but you are taking consistent damage if you're in range. So if you don't mind the damage, by all means stay in range. If you want the damage to stop, then you should probably walk away. It's the leash range is pretty good, so it definitely makes the person have to make a decision whoever you're casting it on. I guess you could use it on creeps, minions, but you usually see them use it on champions just because the slow is pretty handy to have. So, cool ability, nothing too special. It only lasts for 3 seconds, so doesn't last forever or anything. I think the cooldown's pretty good though, so you do want to watch out for that. So it gives him quite a lot of harassing potential, honestly. It's pretty nice. And, I think he can actually attack while his Raven is doing that, and just, you can kind of walk around and stuff. But I think, though, the Raven kind of flies around wherever he walks, if that's the case. I guess I need to play against him a little bit more, but I do remember. I think I remember him walking around and stuff while using that ability. I have to confirm that. Now, this other ability, it's got a delay, so it does warn the opponents that it's coming. So it's kind of like, I guess, a big bird just grabs that stuff and just kind of, he doesn't take things away, but because I guess they resist the attack or whatever, or, I don't know. Anyways, but they do get held in place. So I'm not sure how realistic this ability is, but let's watch the video and find out. Oh, you know what? It actually looks like it's like an underground thing. So what? It's a ground bird. He flies around underground. I don't know how much sense that makes, but he does have 6 eyes, so that's pretty crazy. Whatever. This is a fantasy world, so make of it what you will. I guess birds can fly around underground and then attack you from below. Okay, so that's very interesting. Now, I do believe he's pretty much all magic damage. But I see people build attack damage. So even if it's magic damage, some of these abilities might very well scale with attack damage rather than ability power. But I think he must have a mix, because I see some people build all ability power too. So who knows? Moving on. His third skill. He's able to debuff the enemies, to make them taking increased damage from the rest of your abilities. That's pretty cool. And it's also dealing damage over time. So let's check this out real quick. See what the video is.
If you insist.
Yeah, so I think that's an ability that you really can't do anything about because it's got a pretty darn good range. So once he's hit you with that, you got to be careful, because then he might follow up with this ability, and if he does, he might even throw this down to keep you, because it'll be really easy to hit you with this if you're slowed, right? So his abilities really start comboing together pretty good once you get hit with this one, so be really careful. And I guess he can even use this to finish people off too. I think the cooldown's pretty good. I think the mana cost is quite a bit for it though, so I guess that keeps the balance of power in check. But as long as his basic abilities give him the mana, he should be okay. I want to say, since I do believe creep waves increase in size, so there's going to be more, minion waves, there's going to be more minions as the game goes on. I think that's how it works. Pretty sure it works that way in League of Legends and Dota 2. Well, anyway, he will get stronger as the game progresses, so kind of like Undying in that way, because Undying, his ultimate, he keeps healing as he slays minions, creeps, whatever, and then of course his second ability is based on however many units are around him, so it takes from all of them, or as many of them as the limit is. So yeah, both of them get stronger as the waves get bigger. Now, his ultimate is interesting. This is his transformation thing. Now, he's not like one of like Nidalee or Gnar kind of champions, as far as I can tell. It doesn't change like all of his abilities, but it's still pretty cool. Let's watch the video and see what happens here. So essentially what it appears to be is he takes this alternate form, and it's kind of like Death Prophet's ultimate, only instead of the summons uh, just hanging out fighting for a long time and then returning to heal, it's they just go out and attack once, and then go heal him. So it's constant healing as opposed to Death Prophet's ultimate. Um, so you combine that with like the ability that increases damage against them. That means you'll heal even more. So you do have to be careful, I guess, because it's not as effective if there's tons of enemies around, because you might not necessarily be striking the enemies that you want to, because that could be a little bit random. So I suppose, knowing this, playing against the Swain, you want to make sure you don't chase him too far away from the minion wave, or that he doesn't chase you around too far away from it. If he does, then you probably want to get out of his stuff, because otherwise it's just going to keep hitting you and it's going to hurt. But anyway, yeah, if he's by himself, even if he's got like 3 enemy champions surrounding him, this is still going to hit all 3 of them. So, and he's going to get healed up off of all that. Of course, his third ability, I believe it only hits 1 champion, so he's only going to increase the damage into the healing off of that one champion. But and of course this, I guess it can work on regular units too. So he seems like he could probably be a pretty competent jungler, to be honest. All this sustain he has against champions, why not have good sustain in the jungle too? So, and yeah, I think next time he's free to play, I am going to try him out in the jungle. I want to see how that works. I didn't really understand him all that well until, like this past week when people were playing him a lot and I got to play against him. He was like my lane opponent like multiple times, like in just a couple of days. And I really got to respect his power, I guess I want to say. It's a pretty strong champion. So, I mean, there's not much else to say. He's basically got like an altered version of Death Prophet's ultimate. He's a lot of fun. I really like that hero from Dota 2, and this guy is got a little bit different slant on it. Actually he doesn't have a silence, but he does have like the damage amplify. He's got the ensnare, which is effectively a Pit Lord's second skill, because of the area of affected snare, basically a miniature Treant Protector ultimate, basically. So yeah, he's looking like a pretty solid champion. He is a ranged champion, so he definitely has a lot of poke potential in his kit, so be wary of him. He doesn't have like really big health pool, I don't think, but just because he can heal up so much with his ultimate, he can really be hard to kill. And as you might imagine, even before he gets to his ultimate, he's got a lot of sustainability just because he can keep throwing spells at you because of his basic ability. So be careful with him. He's a pretty strong champion. You don't want to go balls deep against him unless you got the balls big enough to take him out, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Whatever. Anyway, next champion. Let's go over Soraka. Now, this champion I actually own. Well, she only costs 450 influence points, so it's pretty easy to own her. As you can see, I have almost enough to afford Swain, but he's not the champion that I'm going to be buying next. I'll be buying like, I want to say maybe 4 other 4800 champs before him, maybe even like a 6300 one. I really like Lulu, but we'll go over Lulu another time, probably next week, I mean tomorrow. So Soraka, she's got this basic ability that is pretty interesting because it gives her increased mobility. So if somebody's health is like 30% or so, then she'll move really fast to them. I think she also moves faster to them if they're like only 45% or so, but it's not as fast. So, and it's got a pretty decent range. I'm not sure how long the range is, but if they're like clearly on the other side of the map, then it won't work. She won't be moving any faster than him. But it's still like, halfway across the map or so, maybe. Depends on the terrain and all that. First ability, she's got these. She targets an area basically, and there's a delay, and then it does damage. And there's actually two areas. It's maximum damage in the center, and then moderate damage around that. So it's very effective for nuking the enemy, and also slows afterwards. So that's kind of cool. If you were to get Arylize or something, then you could like slow with your other AoE ability, and then follow up with this. So that would be kind of cool. But that's it. She only has the 2 damaging spells, but they do quite a bit of damage. Now, her second spell, I think the area is a tiny bit bigger. I'm not sure. Maybe it's about the same size. The area. Well, how it works is it does initial damage when you cast it, and I want to say I feel like the damage might be smaller than the ensnare and silence area. So it probably is. Maybe there should be a second circle in the indicator in the interface, whatever, but there isn't. Well, anyway, so range values aside, how it works is if someone's standing in this mess, this equinox, whatever she calls it, this zone, while they're in it, they're silenced. So it's effectively like smokescreen from Ricky, but there's no slow at all. Of course, if you combo with her first skill, then you could slow them down and make it harder for them to leave. As it is, the area is not all that big, and I don't believe the area increases with level, which is a bit unfortunate, but at any rate, it does allow you to ensnare the opponents, and the only way that happens is when the zone disappears. Unfortunately, you cannot make the zone disappear early like you can for Lux's third skill. If that were the case, it might be a little overpowered. But at any rate, when the zone does disappear, the silence disappears as well. So there's that. But so it does root the enemies. Yeah, I guess that's the modern term, maybe. I don't know. I'm not sure. There's so many terms for the same things, and it's hard to tell which one's the modern and which one isn't sometimes. So, very cool ability, and there's not much else to say about it other than that. Both of those abilities scale with her ability power, and then her second ability also scales with ability powers as well as does her ultimate. Actually, now that I think, but I don't think her second ability does scale with ability power. Maybe it does. Anyway, oh yeah, so it actually cuts off a large amount of your health. It's actually like 1%. With that said, though, it is okay to build like Warmogs on her, just because it actually heals you over time or regenerates a percentage of your health. So that is insanely good. But other than that, yeah, I guess you don't really want health items on her in general. It's better for you to build like some mobility, some utility, that kind of thing. Anyway, I guess the more ability power you do have, the more it will heal people, but the scaling is not really all that great. And that's about all it does, I believe. Unfortunately, I think unlike with Tark's healing, it does not heal according to how much maximum health you have. But on the other hand, it's still pretty nice because the cooldown is very low, so you can keep healing them over and over and over again. You can heal multiple people instead of. But the drawback to it, though, is that it does take away from your own life, your own health. So that's why I said, it's okay to build Warmogs on her, because that just gives you lots of regeneration and just keeps you ticking. So pretty solid item on her. And then there's other good items too on her. Like if you heal the ally, then you increase their attack speed, which is pretty cool if you combo with her ultimate, because her ultimate just literally all it does is heal herself and all friendly champions. So it's basically global. So with the item that increases attack speed of your allies when you heal them, this will increase everyone's attack speed. So that's pretty neat. But you don't have to buy that item, but I would highly recommend it on her, because this is only going to cost mana. Unlike her other heal, it won't cost her any health to cast it. So that's pretty nice. So, and that's about it. I mean, she's really not all that complicated, but before her rework, like, her star call was pretty bad because she like literally had to get like really close to all these guys if she wanted to damage them all with her first spell, and so that kind of sucked. It did have like a damage amplifying part on it, but I think this new one where it rewards you for being more accurate by letting you do more damage, I think that's quite a bit better. Actually, I do believe the damage increase is like percentage, so based on your ability power or whatever. So I would say it's definitely worth it to get good at casting her first spell now. And then with her third one, sometimes the placement and the timing can really make a difference, especially if you follow it up after the star call, because sometimes you can really catch somebody in there, particularly if you've comboed it with another slow, like a Rylai's, and you have 2 slows on them. Perhaps it might be enough to ensnare them. Maybe a slow from the opponent, or maybe a knockback or something or another. You can sometimes combo it with the crowd control of your ally, and that's the thing. Like with her, just like a minimal amount of crowd control for her lane partner is pretty much a solid lane partner for her, I would say. Like Varus, for example, his slow in an area would just be just fine, or that kind of thing. So yeah, pretty fun champion. I like owning champions where I feel like I totally wouldn't mind laning with them as well as playing with them, and that's like one I really feel that way about. So pretty nice one. People play her in bot lane, not very often at all. Actually, she's not particularly popular because the whole health, she loses it when she heals people. So, but I get around it, by I only get 1 point in the heal early on. Sometimes I don't get any points if my lane partner's doing well enough, but usually he'll be begging and I have to heal him a little bit. But ideally, you don't want to be healing a lot until you get your Warmogs. If you do, then you're going to be getting yourself killed a lot. So be careful. Now, Sejuani is the third one we want to go over today. Her basic ability is really awesome. It allows her to have extra armor, and she does that by being on the offensive. Is interesting. And like, you can't really stop her very well either, because this is like an innate, like, green boots, I want to say. It says it reduces movement slowing effects on her. So the more she's attacking or casting spells on the enemies, and I guess it's even affecting minions too, not just minions, it's going to be having this effect on her, giving that boost of armor and reducing the slowing effects on her. So she's kind of like, I want to say, she's like the Juggernaut, she's unstoppable, is what I'm trying to say, like from X-Men, not from Dota. But yeah, pretty cool champion. Really fun basic ability. It reminds me a bit of Aurelia's basic ability, but it gives something else. Alright, and then of course for her, she has to be proactive instead of just standing around, being attacked. Anyway, moving on. Arctic Assault. Charges forward, dealing magic damage and knocking enemies into the air. So this is pretty cool because, this is basically disable, knocking them into the air. And it's a jump too, of some sort. And yeah, I guess it can knock multiple minions into the air, but once it knocks an enemy champion into the air, then it stops. I would assume if there's another one next to her, then it'll knock them into the air too. But then that's as far as it goes. That's about, I guess I would say, the max distance. It doesn't get quite that far, right, if she bumps into a champion. But it's still pretty cool. So basically, the bottom line is it's a great way to jump into a team fight and start wrecking havoc, you know. Pretty much that's what that's for. And of course, it could be nice for clearing waves too. So, you know, and like with Soraka, you know, she's got good wave clearing ability too, actually, because her first ability does work on minions, although her third one, the root silence, that funky ability, that does not work on minions. Keep that in mind. Now, the nice thing though with Soraka though is that first ability does have a pretty reasonable cooldown, so you could still clear waves relatively well with it. Now, Sejuani's second ability, what's this all about? It's like her general, just, you know, team fight damaging dealio that she does. Check it out. I don't know if this video is gonna be very
Bristle seems hungry today.
I want to say it's kind of like she's got like the Tusk ultimate, you know, thing going on, where, you know, she charges her next basic attack, dealing, you know, bonus magic damage. Well, in Tusk's case, there's no magic damage; it's physical, but you get the point. It's charging the next attack, and in this case, it seems to be seems to be magical cleave. So she deals a magical cleave attack, kind of like Tidebringer, I guess, or Kunkka from Dota 2. Only he's got like physical damage, I believe. Anyway, and so I would assume that even her physical damage cleaves. That's probable. I will have to confirm that. I know Kale has a very similar ability, and she does scale with attack damage. So Sejuani might as well. So that could be really fun. I'm starting to second guess if I really want to get Trundle next. Trundle and Sejuani, I'm getting next. They're the two champions I'm definitely getting next. So, and then after that is probably going to be Shyvana, but there's a lot of other champions I want too. So we'll see. But anyway, she is a heck of a lot of fun with this ability because, you know, it has two parts to it, right? It's not just that initial attack, but then it's like it triggers this area of effect magic damage deal, like Immolation, once again, from the Demon Hunter from Warcraft 3. It's like Leshrak's ultimate. Of course, it's not doing that much damage, and it's certainly not draining your mana every second. So it's pretty nice to have on like a warrior champion, as you might imagine. So she's pretty fun. Alright, third ability. Abilities and basic attacks apply frost to enemies. So it's got a passive component, once again, like Shaco's, you know, third ability, and then an active part. So if she activates it, she actually slows all nearby enemies with the frost and damages them. So I want to say it's kind of like if Lich were to cast his first skill on himself, you know, it would just damage units around him. Yeah, it's kind of like that. So, let's go ahead and watch the video just because she's so cool and I just can't resist just checking it out, even though it's probably a lame video.
I was born for conquest.
So, you know, I'm not sure why it looked so funny that way, but yeah, I would imagine, you know, the crystals, they fly out at everything if there's more units. So, yeah, pretty interesting stuff. So the first part was just showing the regular frost, just slowing her down normally, and as she runs away, then she does something else. So I guess that was her second ability or something. Or wait, no, it was just that ability. It just damages and slows all of them, right? So I mean, it looks like she shoots it forward only by the video. Like I said, it's a pretty crappy video. But if there were people behind her, it would hit them with it too. So, like, actually, unlike Shaco's shivs, you know, this can hit a pretty big area. Shaco's shivs, it only hits like one guy when you activate it. So she's pretty nice for the team fights compared to Shaco already. With all three of her abilities, they're all amazing for these team fights. Even this one's not so bad because, you know, once again, like with Aurelia's ability, you know, as she's fighting, it's hard to bring her down, honestly. So now let's go to her final ability. She throws her True Ice Bola in a line. So this is the fun one. This is like, I want to say, it's like Mirana's Sacred Arrow, like only a super version of it. So it's kind of like Ash's Arrow, except it's not. Okay, let's check it out. There's no way it's global, that's for sure. Yeah, so that's pretty cool. It doesn't go very far compared to, you know, the Sacred Arrow or Ash's Arrow or anything like that, but it's still a really nice team fight ability, as you could imagine, because it hits one guy, like it hit that one in the back, and then it spreads to everyone else, like instantly. So it slows them. It does not snare them, so it's not super strong like Varus Ultimate, but it's still nice because even if it misses completely, then it's still gonna explode. You know, it might hit something, even if it's not what you wanted to hit. And you know, it's actually easier to land than Varus Ultimate too. Of course, it's not gonna be as powerful, but you know, she's still got all these other abilities mixed in, so you can't expect it to be as strong as that when she's already got so many team fight abilities. You're not gonna have her ultimate team fight ability be, you know, like, you don't want her to be overpowered, I guess is what I'm trying to say. You gotta be careful you don't make this ability too strong. And anyway, it is a lot of fun to use, and that's the important thing. So that's pretty much all the champions I wanted to go over today. So look forward to tomorrow. We'll go over Lulu. She's free to play this week. I was having fun playing her. How about... Okay. I wanted to say let's do Jarvan, but I don't know if I have time to play him. We'll go over Lulu, Misfortune, because I've played her already. And... am I running out of champions that I own? Yeah, maybe. Let's go over Caitlyn too. So Caitlyn, Misfortune, and Lulu are for tomorrow. We'll do a rundown on them. So this is the end of the 8th episode. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Tune in for tomorrow for the next episode. Alright, see you guys later.